I'm Cedra Mayfield, and this is Legal Speak, where we break down what's happening in the legal industry. We are reporting live at the Women Influence and Power in Law Conference taking place in D.C. And joining us now is Bliek, the head of the commercial legal team at TomTom International. And welcome to Legal Speak. First and foremost, how are you?
Thank you for the warm welcome. I'm doing well. I arrived yesterday evening, but I still feel fresh, so this is a good moment.
Now, is this your first Whipple conference?
No, I believe this is the fourth or the third time that I'm joining.
Okay, so what brings you back? What makes you continue to come back to Whipple each time?
I think this conference is unique in its sort. I attend quite some conferences, but this one is really my favorite. I'm not saying it because I'm in a podcast, but it's truly the case. And I also noticed that I'm one of the few people that actually come from Europe. So that also says something about this conference, right? That I'm here for the fourth time flying over the ocean.
Well, thank you for traveling so far to come, because that obviously is not a short hike. Now, you're with TomTom International. Give us a breakdown on what's going on with TomTom these days.
Well, that's the million-dollar question. You're not the only one who asked me this question. So I already work for TomTom for more than 12 years. And even when I joined 12 years ago, I moved from private practice to TomTom. And then my father asked you, are you sure you're giving up your good job at this biggest law firm in the Netherlands for this role at TomTom? Because you would imagine that the navigation device is a declining market. So not only here, people are asking me, is TomTom still around? Even for a Dutch stock listed company in the Netherlands, they also ask me this question. But the reason why people are asking this question is that back in the days when you had the navigation devices, you clicked it on your window, and nowadays people think like only my grandfather or grandmother are using it. And it's all been replaced by an application. And why would you buy a TomTom these days? Well, actually, quite some people are buying it. 20% of our revenue is still because of the navigation devices, but we moved away from being this hardware supplier into this software technology supplier. So our technology is everywhere, and probably you are using it maybe daily, because we have customers like Microsoft, it's in Uber, Finding Love. Lots of apps these days requiring location technology, and we provide that location technology. So in those apps, but also all kinds of cars are powered by TomTom. So we are still around, only you don't see us as much because we are not consumer facing, but business facing.
So TomTom is alive and well and thriving.
Exactly.
Good to know. So now you're also helping kick off a day one panel by sharing your insights on a panel entitled Future Proofing Your Career, Evolving into a Tech-Savvy Legal Leader for Tomorrow's Challenges. Break down for our listeners, what does that mean?
Lots of honestly fluffy language, but I would simply talk about tech-savvy lawyers. Obviously, I work in a tech company, so I think by nature you need to be a bit of tech savvy because you need to understand the business in order to provide valuable advice. But nowadays, even if you don't work in a tech company, you need to be tech savvy. And the reason, therefore, is that legal tech is something you cannot get around with, right? In order to work smarter, to keep up with like your competitors, you also need to be able to use that tooling, to know what it does for you, how to work smarter, and therefore you need to learn more about it. So that's what this session will be about.
So what are a few strategies that you can outline for how our legal listeners can adapt with a tech-forward mindset?
Well, it all starts with, I would say, attending these kind of conferences, keep a close eye on what's happening in the market, speaking with peers. What I find personally very difficult when entering this space was that where to start. And there are so many companies that are offering their services, but what was missing for me is finding peers to discuss what really works, right? Because it's nice to listen to all these advertising and the demo looks great, but how does it work in real life? So I would say before you start listening, visit conferences, find peers. Start slow, but do start, because otherwise you miss the boat.
And on the opposite end of the spectrum, for those who are a little bit more resistant or slower to embrace technology, what feedback or suggestions do you have? Because I know personally, I was a little slow to adopt AI.
Well, and I think if you are already adapting it today, you're not the slowest, honestly, because I think quite some people are not adapting it. So I think you're never the slowest. And AI is also quite a buzzword, right? Everybody's talking about AI, but there's so many different flavors, and we are already using it while not actually knowing that it is AI. But sending an email back and it's prepared for you saying, thank you, sounds amazing. I didn't type it myself. Outlook did. And that is already technology, but it's it's not generative per se AI. It's just like technology we already use, but it's more being open-minded, and it's not scary, but it's good to start learning.
Now, from your panel discussion, when it's all said and done, if you had to maybe pinpoint 2 or 3 takeaways that you would hope that everyone in attendance would walk out of there with, what would it be?
Embrace change. Also be honest, because implementing a new tool or legal tech takes time and is not perfect from the start. It requires an investment both in time and money, but be honest about it, right? Don't expect miracles from the start. Yeah.
All right. Well, before I let you go, I do want to know, and I know that the conference is just getting underway, but is there anything in particular at this year's conference that you're most looking forward to?
Not really. I just want to, I'm always so inspired by the keynote speakers, like this morning. So I cannot wait to visit later today the keynotes, but also tomorrow morning. So yeah, and I always go in with a blank sleeve, and I think that works best because yeah, you just absorb all the information.
Well, thank you for carving out time to talk with us here on Legal Speak.
You're welcome.
The name of the session Anna's paneling is Future-Proofing Your Career, Evolving into a Tech-Savvy Legal Leader for Tomorrow's Challenges. And if you weren't able to attend Women Influence and Power in Law and see it live, you can find the session as a CLE program. Just go to law.com/CLE Center. Signing out from Whipple, taking place in D.C., I'm Cedra Mayfield with Legal Speak.